Go. Hello, thank you so much for joining us today to talk to you a little bit about financial aid and how to pay for college. With me here today, I have Mrs. Baker, Mrs. Martinez, and I'm Mrs. Goldstein. All right, so what we'd like to talk to you about are the different types of financial aid that you can get, applying for financial aid, and then additional resources to help you along the way. And again, if you don't remember anything in this PowerPoint today, please remember that your school counselors are here the entire way. So as you get into this application, just make sure to reach out to get help if you have any questions or concerns. So first, we're going to cover the different types of financial aid. And before we dive into that, I think it's important to understand a little bit about the application process. So the application you'll be completing in the fall, and you're going to be completing one application. You're either going to be submitting the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, or the California DREAM Act application, also referred to as CADA, CADA. And so you can look on these two lists to determine which application would be appropriate for you. If you have any questions or you're not quite sure, please make sure to reach out for support. The reason for this is if you start one of the applications, but then you realize you should have been doing the other one, it can cause some delays in getting your financial aid. So please make sure you're very clear on which one to submit before you start the application process. Here's just an overview to kind of let you know what to expect based off of the two applications. So for the FAFSA application, you will be given potentially federal student loans, grants. This would be federal, state, as well as university-based grants, and also work study. As far as the DREAM Act application, this will be for grants at the state level as well as the university, as well as the California DREAM loan. And we'll go ahead and go in more detail about what these mean. So what is financial aid exactly? Financial aid is money that you can use to pay for your college tuition or any expenses related to attending college. When you hear the word grant, just remember that that is free money. That is money that you do want because that's money to help you pay for college that you don't ever have to pay back. Work study would be money that you can earn by having a job at the college or university that you're working at, and that money could be used towards your college. Federal student loans are borrowed money. So this would be money that would be given to you that you would have to eventually pay back. And finally, scholarships. Scholarships are another form of free money and definitely something you'll want to look into. For more information, you can go to studentaid.gov/types. All right, so let's go into grants a little bit more. Again, I can't emphasize enough, this is the free money. This is what you want to see on your financial aid application results. So federal grants include Pell Grants and Supplemental Education Opportunity Grants, and these can be used for in-state as well as out-of-state institutions. State grants are grants that you can be granted if you're planning to attend a school within California. There's the Cal Grant A, B, or C. It is not all three. You will be granted, if you are granted a Cal Grant, one of the three based off of financial need, as well as what you're planning to study, as well as overall GPA. And finally, the university grants. This is at the CSU as well as the UC level for the middle class scholarships. Federal work study. This is money that you can earn. So if you are granted the federal work study, you would have to still apply and you're not guaranteed to get a job on the campus, but it is another opportunity that you can look into. It's also important to note that this is federal work study, so this would be for students completing the FAFSA. It's also important to note that many UC campuses also offer institutional work study for undocumented youth or students completing the California DREAM Act application. All right, and Mrs. Martinez will take over from here.
So there are school loans. So this is borrowed money. There are three types of loans for those that are applying for the FAFSA. There's the subsidized loans. This is based on financial need, no interest and no payments until 6 months after graduation. There's the unsubsidized loans. This is financial aid is not required. Interest on these loans begin occurring immediately, no payments until 6 months after graduation. And there's a new one, it's the Parent Loan Plus. This parent loan can be used to pay for just what it's not covered by the student's financial aid package. So if there's still money that needs to be covered, and it hasn't been covered by grants or the other loans, then your parent can take out a loan for you if they want. And then there's a DREAM Act loan for students that are doing the DREAM Act application. This is based on financial need, no interest and no payments until 6 months after graduation. And then how is financial aid determined? So you'll hear a lot about like cost of attendance and expected family contribution. So cost of attendance, what that means, it includes tuition, fees, room and board, and transportation. And then expected family contribution, it's based on the number that FAFSA gives you based on the information that you, the FAFSA and the DREAM Act based on the information that you placed in the application. So what you do is you do cost of attendance minus the expected family contribution, and that will give you financial need. And so what they will do is that based on what you qualify for, they will cover that financial need with the grants, loans, and work study. Scholarships. So this is not part of FAFSA or DREAM Act, but it's a form of financial aid and it's free money. So you can find scholarships on our website page under Mission Hills departments, College and Career Center scholarships, or we'll have on this YouTube video, we'll have a link to this PDF. And so you'll be able to click on the hyperlinks. And so we do have a really cool Excel sheet with all the scholarships, how much they're for, when the application opens, when it closes, and the requirements for it. If you want to learn more in depth about scholarships, we do have a YouTube video on scholarships that you can watch. And it's like about 20 minutes for you to just get more information on just what scholarships require, like for example, letter of recommendation, essays, community service, etc. Universities and colleges have their own scholarships, and you can go onto their website and look at their list. Sometimes they have portals and you can kind of browse through which ones would apply to you. Okay, applying for financial aid. Application links. So we have the FAFSA application on there, and then the DREAM Act application link on there. So when it's time for you to start your application, you can click on these and it will take you to the website. After you have applied for the FAFSA and the DREAM Act, there is a website called Web Grants for Students. We want your student to make an account on this website. And what it does is that students indicate what school they're planning to go to, and then the Web Grants for Students, like they'll direct your Cal Grant money to that school. So basically you're telling them, send my Cal Grant A to Palomar, or send it to UC Berkeley, or whichever school you decide, or so make sure that your student later on, they do create a Web Grants for Student account. Okay, and just so you know, the application process, what will look like is your student will complete either the FAFSA or the DREAM Act. While they're completing it, there will be a question about what schools they are planning to apply to or they're interested in attending, and so they will list those schools. And what will happen is that the financial aid information that you guys place on the FAFSA, they'll submit it to these schools. And so Ms. Goldstein talked about institutional grants. So these institutions, they use this financial aid information for institutional grants. And so the universities will contact you guys through each university and college has a portal. So they will share with you, your financial aid kind of awards, like how much they're going to give you in grants, loans and work study. They'll do it through these portals, or some of them will actually send you a financial aid award letter through the mail. Okay, so documents needed for the application. So there's some links to see a checklist for the FAFSA and the DREAM Act. They will want to know your tax information from last year. And so if you don't file taxes, you would have to start preparing and like kind of seeing how much you made last year, and you'll be able to manually report that information. And this is just an example of like the documents that would be needed for the FAFSA. You don't upload them, but they will ask you information. So you'd have to kind of manually type in the information. So for example, they will ask for social security numbers. If your student has a green card, they will ask for the alien registration number, federal tax information or tax returns, records of untaxed income, cash savings and checking account balances, as well as investments.
Okay, so this slide again has the links for the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act, the CADA. And like Mrs. Martinez said, in the description of this video, there will be a link to the PDF of these slides, which will have then you can access the hyperlinks very easily from the slide presentation. So both applications go live as of October 1st. And so every year that you're in school, for example, seniors, every year that you're in school, when you're in college, graduate school, you're going to be renewing your FAFSA or your California DREAM Act every year. And so every October 1st, you're going to be doing this while you're in college. And so by watching this video now and preparing some of the information that you'll need, a lot of families will hit that submit button on October 1st. And some of the funds are first come, first serve. So we do recommend that seniors and their families submit these applications as soon as possible to meet all the deadlines. The ultimate deadline is March 2nd to submit the FAFSA or the DREAM Act, however, but a lot of students will submit much earlier than that. Some tips on the application. If you haven't already, seniors, please create a professional personal account, like a Gmail, for example, for all of your financial aid applications, your college applications, scholarships, and all of that stuff that you'll be working on. Do not use your San Marcos Unified School District email because it doesn't collect all the emails and it shuts down after you graduate. So you definitely want to be using a personal email for these types of applications. And then be sure to check your email often. A lot of it will get directly sent to the students, confirming that they received your information, or they might require some more information, maybe something's missing. So double checking those emails often is really important during senior year especially. And then there is a way to correct any mistakes and submit the corrected information. So say you do submit October 1st and then you decide to apply to an additional institution. Maybe you didn't list Palomar College when you initially submitted your financial aid forms, but then in December you decided to apply to Palomar. You can go back into your application and add Palomar College or any other colleges or institutions that you want to include. And then some additional tips include, on the next slide, oh yes, using the same information that you have at Mission Hills on all your applications. So everything from how your name is spelled to your address, just double checking your records at Mission Hills, because what will happen is you'll submit your FAFSA or your DREAM Act, and then we submit these GPA verification forms. So in order for the financial aid form and the school records to meet, those points of information really need to match up. So sometimes, for example, if a student has two last names, is there a space, is there a hyphen, just little things like that even, that we just want to check for consistency. Some next steps include, again, just we can't stress enough the importance of checking your email often, because a lot of the communication will go directly to the student regarding financial aid, scholarships, college information. They might require some additional paperwork. They will remind you of important deadlines that could lead to additional aid. So making sure you meet those deadlines is very important. When it comes to evaluating school aid offers, there's a link here to a comparison worksheet. So for example, after you submit your financial aid application and after you've applied to college, the college will get back to you and basically share with you like a financial aid award letter or something in their portal that will break down the cost of attending their school based on the financial aid information that you gave them. So it'll be a unique letter for you and how your financial situation applies to that particular school. So every school that you're interested in will have that. And so the comparison worksheet comes in handy because sometimes the portals or the award letters can be just formatted a little differently. So this comparison worksheet just has all the values and items that you should be looking for when you're comparing schools' financial aid offers. And again, the FAFSA and the DREAM Act are live as of October 1st, and that is very early, and applying to college, those deadlines are often later. So it might be a while before you hear back from the school with a financial aid offer. If you submit your FAFSA, your DREAM Act October 1st, and then you apply to Cal State San Marcos in November, it's going to take some time for Cal State San Marcos, for example, to match up with your financial aid information and get back to you. So just know that it might take some time, but that it is okay to submit your FAFSA or your DREAM Act before you finish your college application. You can always, like I said, add more schools later on if you end up applying to more schools than you had thought. There are a lot of resources about the FAFSA and the California DREAM Act out there. There are phone numbers that you can call, websites, chat features, YouTube videos, your school counselor, obviously. So as your senior year starts and progresses, we are here for you every step of the way. And so when in doubt, definitely just reach out to your school counselor. But again, here are some resources here with websites and phone numbers that you and your family can access for additional support for the FAFSA or the DREAM Act. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Again, please, if you haven't already, download the PDF in the description so you have access to all the hyperlinks. Our financial aid website is curated with a lot of really great information as well to help you with your financial aid process. And again, in the fall with seniors, we will have additional supports for all the seniors and their families. So we are, again, as a counseling department, here for you every step of the way for financial aid and anything else that you might need during your senior year. Thank you so much, and go Grizzlies!